In the past, I've made games in 16 days, 10 days, and 3 days. But on July 15th, 2022, I was about to embark on a journey to create a game in only 48 hours. This was by far the craziest game jam I've ever participated in. And so much happened in such a small amount of time. So let's jump right into it. For me, one of the scariest parts of the game jam experience is the theme announcement, which is why I was so relieved when I found out that the theme was the roll of the dice. Easily my favorite game jam theme so far. The very first thing I did was open up a blank Google Doc to start brainstorming. And my first idea was to make a game that's similar to the VAT system in the Fallout games. And a little while later, I came up with another idea too, choosing a direction and then rolling a die to determine how far you move. With these two ideas in mind, I jumped straight into coding. I wanted to make the game turn-based and on a grid. So the first thing we need to make is, well, the grid. And recently, I've been trying to teach myself how to write cleaner code, and I think I did a pretty good job with that on the grid system. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the rest of the code in the jam. It gets ugly. And once the grid was finished, we need a player. So I made this little green dot our temporary player, and did a bit of coding to get him moving. The player's turn right now has two parts. The first part, choosing a direction using WASD, and the second part, rolling the die to see how far he moves. This is looking pretty good, but right now it's hard to see how far the player moves. So I made these tile sprites and these dice sprites and put them all together in Unity. I also thought it would add a lot to the game if the player smoothly transitioned from one tile to the other instead of doing that big awkward jump that he's doing right now, and then have the camera slowly follow behind him. And after just a tiny bit of coding, we can see that everything is working perfectly fine with no glitches or bugs whatsoever. I mean, maybe the player's getting just a tiny bit feisty, but after a bit of coding, we can get him to behave. Okay, now things are looking better. For the game, I wanted it to be kind of like a battle royale where there are 10 people all fighting to see who the last man standing is. And in order to accomplish this goal, we need some bad guys. After making 10 circles and having them randomly positioned around the grid, the most random battle was about to begin. But that genuinely took way longer than it should have. When I was coding it, I kept having a bunch of infinite loops crashing Unity, which really slowed me down. And that's when I realized these enemies were my enemies, and they were going to do everything in their power to slow me down. Right now though, these enemies are much better at standing around and looking pretty than they are at being actual enemies. So, I think we should get them moving. And after an hour of coding, they're taking turns with the player and moving exactly how he does. Don't tell them I said this, but the enemies, they're pretty stupid. They just pick a completely random direction and move. Making them smarter though can wait a bit, because I've been coding for about 8 hours now, and I need to take a break. It's now about 12:30 on July 16th, so day 1 is officially over. And I began day 2 by making the enemies chase after each other. This took quite some time and had a lot of bugs, but after about 2.5 hours, it was working perfectly. They eventually all just meet each other face to face and then stand there because they don't know how to attack each other just yet. But I'm tired, so that's gonna have to wait for morning. I think we've made some pretty good progress so far, and I'm more than happy with the position that the game is in right now. Alright, now that I'm back, it's time to continue working on this game. Right now, it's about 3 p.m. and I'm gonna start working on... Wait, 3 p.m.? Huh? Where am I?
Will, you are in a flashback to fill in the viewer on what happened.
Oh. Okay.
Will's friend asked Will if Will will be willing to cover his shift. Will then said,
"Let me check my calendar first." Yep, looks like I'm free. Okay, as I was saying, we have about 75% more game left to make and less than 50% of the jam to do it in. Now, this doesn't add up nicely to me. And if I want to have any shot of finishing this game, I need to 1, not sleep, and 2, seriously clutch up. So, the players being dots for the final game is just not okay. So, we need to make some sprites. I made a sprite for the players, the enemies, and then a gun and knife sprite. After I put them into the game, I quickly went on to the next thing, the player's turn. Right now, the player's turn is just picking a direction and moving. On top of that, we need him attacking. So, when holding the knife, the player can attack in a 1-tile radius. And then when holding the gun, he can attack in a 3-tile radius. And then after the player attacks, I want to give him a chance to flee. I'll get into why later, but right now I just have to program it in. And remember earlier how I said I wanted to have nice clean code? Well, that goal's just gone completely out the window, and I'm introducing myself now to what I like to call a superscript. We're shoving absolutely everything that something needs into one class. At this point, we've got to work fast, not stylish. Now we have to do the same exact thing for the enemies. This shouldn't be that bad though, because I can just Control-C, Control-V in a lot of the stuff from the player movement. It should be pretty easy. Haha, it's now 10 o'clock, and they're only doing half what they're supposed to do. They can attack, just not flee. And right now, they just run up to each other, stare at each other, and just perpetually stab each other in the face. Alright, this is not fun. They need to run away to make the game more interesting. But it should be a pretty easy fix though, so let's go. It's been 2 hours. I don't know what I'm doing. The superscript idea is really starting to bite me in the butt. In order to find anything, I need to either scroll for about 20 seconds or use Control F. I eventually realized that all I needed to do was write return, and that took 2 hours. Now, this probably would have been a lot easier if 1, I wasn't sleep deprived, and 2, I wasn't using a superscript. Well, that was pretty annoying, but we've got a lot more game left and not a lot of time. Remember before when I was talking about my ideas for the game and I wanted to have something similar to the VAT system in Fallout? Well, now it's time to finally implement that. So, the first part is generating hit chances. With the knife, I only want the player to be able to target the chest, just to add more incentive to go out and find a gun. The hit chance with the knife is normally distributed with a mean of 0.6 and a standard deviation of 0.1. Wait, what? You don't know what that means? Oh, well then you should check out this video that I made all about how you can use normal distributions to improve your games. Shameless self-promotion over. So the hit chances with the guns are a tiny bit different because we have to factor in distance. After a little bit of mean lerping, everything works perfect. Oh no. So I'm freaking out at this point because the hit chances for the legs and arms are way higher or way lower than they should be. It's like 2:30 in the morning right now, and I'm questioning whether this video that I made all about normal distributions was completely wrong. After taking a closer look at the code though, I realized I'm generating a random number between 0 and 100,000 instead of 0 and 10,000. And also my standard deviations are 1 order of magnitude higher than they should be. So yeah, I don't need sleep. No need sleep. Babies. Not me. And with that panic attack over, I need to implement the next step, health. Player and enemies each have 3 hearts of health. Any hit to the chest takes 1 heart away. A headshot is an instant kill. Hits to the leg mean you can only move 1 tile, and hits to the arm significantly lowers your accuracy. The next thing I think the game needs is some chests. In the chest, we'll give the player 1 of 3 power-ups. A gun, health for healing, and a band-aid for healing any crippled limbs. The chests weren't too bad to implement, but they did take a bit of time. And at this point though, I only had them working with the player. So I stood up, took a little stretch break, looked out the window, and then I realized that it's daytime. I've been coding all night and didn't even realize it. So getting back to work, I need the enemies to be able to interact with the chests too. This took quite a bit of time to get working though. I had to make the enemies sometimes prioritize chests over attacking, and also deciding when they should leave an item to come back for later. And it's about 9 a.m. right now, so we've got about 6 hours left of the jam. I thought it would be cool to add some walls too, but I didn't really like the way it turned out. First, it slows down the pacing of an already slow-paced game. Second, it kind of screws with the enemy's pathfinding. And third, they don't actually work as cover for guns. With all that said, I took them out and realized I only had 5 hours left. Whenever I do anything for a YouTube video, I always keep a log so I won't forget what happened. And that's true in the case of this game jam. Up until now. I told myself that there's just not enough time to keep logging everything that's going on. So the next 5 hours are a big chaotic blur. And I think they went a little something like this. What do I need? Okay, sound effects, that's important. Yes. Okay, I need a whoosh. And I need a pew for the gun. Okay, let's see the whoosh. Okay, now the pew. Okay, that was really the best we got. Okay, that's fine. Okay, next up, music. Okay, what do I do? Okay. Okay, I don't have much time left. Okay, let me get something in. Okay, done. I'd play it for you guys right now, but I don't want to screw up the pacing of this part of the video right now. Sorry. All right, next up, main menu. Okay, so let me just make all these guys standing around this thing, and let me put the title in the middle, and oh, no, I don't have a title. Okay, let me think. What does this game do? It's random, and there's a big battle. The most random battle, sure. That's Honestly terrible, but I think that's the best we're gonna get right now. Wait a second. Oh, no. The player, he can't win or lose right now. So, we need to code in logic for him winning and losing, I guess. Okay, this is all really good, but I need a tutorial really fast because the game is super confusing and no one's gonna know how to play. Oh, no, this is taking too long, I'm literally shaking right now. There's like no time left. Okay. I then woke up on my couch and checked the time. It was 6:30 p.m. and I was so tired, I could barely even remember what happened in the past 12 hours. I had been coding for 24 hours, a full day straight, and I was exhausted. I went to my computer and opened up itch.io to check what had happened, and I submitted the game with 46 minutes left to spare. This was the craziest jam I've ever participated in, and I learned so much. The most important thing I learned was the importance of clean code, and how writing giant superscripts don't really work that well. I'm also really happy with the way the game turned out. For being my shortest jam, I feel like this one is the most fun game jam game I've ever created. And if you wanted to try it for yourself, you could click the link in the description to head over to the submission page. And it's a WebGL game, so you can literally just play it in your browser. You don't have to download anything. Also, huge thanks to Mark Brown and everyone else involved to make this jam possible. I had a blast. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching. If you wanted to see more game jam content, click right here. And if you were interested in that video I was talking about earlier, about normal distributions to help improve your games, click down here. Also, make sure you subscribe too, so you don't miss any fun game dev content in the future. Thanks. See you soon.